Okay. I'm calling the Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 regular council meeting to order. It is 6:42. Ms. Monroe, if you'd like to call the roll.
Mayor Don Barnard.
Here.
Tiffany Hollis.
Here.
Brian Green.
Here.
Dave Seelan.
Here.
Jeff Barr.
Present.
Wes Coble.
Here.
Paul Barsini.
Here. Okay, if we could please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance, we'll be led by Councilman Cole.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we come with grateful hearts for the blessings you've given our community. Thank you for the people who serve, support, and uplift one another. As we move from the season of Thanksgiving into the joy of Christmas, fill our homes and streets with peace, generosity, and hope. Help us remember the true meaning of the season, love made real through kindness and compassion. Guide us to care for those in need and celebrate our hearts with full of gratitude. Amen.
Amen. Nicely said.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for Jack for getting the roads clean today, so everybody could be here.
Yes.
By hand. Next, our first on the agenda is approval of agenda. We all received the agenda from Ms. Monroe. We added a proclamation to it and charter review discussion. But besides that, it's basically what you saw the other day. Does anybody else have any things they want to add or delete? Okay, hearing none, what's the will of council?
Motion to approve is amended?
I will second.
Are all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed?
Okay, we have a proclamation tonight. I'm going to have Mr. Seelan, Councilman Seelan, who brought this up, he's going to present it tonight. So, Mr. Effingham, is that correct? Eltringham. If you could come forward, I appreciate it.
A proclamation honoring Mike Eltringham for his exceptional service to the city of Johnstown, Ohio. Whereas the city of Johnstown proudly recognizes individuals whose longstanding dedication and service has strengthened the identity, unity, and history of our community. And whereas for many years, Mike Eltringham has been a trusted and beloved presence in Johnstown, faithfully documenting the life of our city and preserving its story through exceptional talent, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to capturing the moments that matter. And whereas through his consistent presence at local football games, school activities, senior photo sessions, community events, and countless celebrations, Mike Eltringham has served as the eyes of the community, ensuring that the achievements, traditions, and spirit of Johnstown are seen, shared, and remembered for generations. And whereas Mike's impact extends beyond these events to include his vital work supporting local businesses and economic development efforts, as well as his meaningful contributions to the Hometown Heroes program, led by the Johnstown, Ohio Hometown Heroes Foundation, Incorporated, which honors veterans and active duty service members who are and were Johnstown residents through a distinguished military banner program. And whereas through his photography, dedication, and care, Mike Eltringham has helped elevate and preserve the stories of our local heroes, ensuring their service is recognized with dignity and pride while continuing to shape how Johnstown's heritage, growth, and community spirit are viewed by residents, visitors, and partners alike. Now therefore it be proclaimed that the city of Johnstown hereby commends and honors Mike Eltringham for his exceptional dedication for illuminating the life of our city through his work and for being the lens through which Johnstown is seen, celebrated, and remembered, both in everyday Johnstown life and in honoring those who have served our nation. You guys want to come down for this?
Oh, absolutely, sure, absolutely, do it.
I think everyone here has or knows
I'm gonna stand in the back.
someone in this.
Get up there, buddy.
I'm never in the back.
Look tall. Yeah. There we go, that works.
You want Mike to come take your picture?
He's gonna come to your headshot.
That's a good one, Joe. I like
All
that.
right. What? That's great.
Remember, I got it.
Yeah, Shirley.
Shirley, want to come up to the picture? Yes.
No.
You don't have to wait about it?
Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Fantastic fellow.
Thank you, Mike, for all you do.
I didn't realize who it was until.
Okay, next item on the agenda is correspondence from the Ohio Department of Commerce, Division of Liquor Control. There are two in here. Does anyone have any questions or comments on these items? These are standard
Transfers.
transfers.
Do they both sell high-end scotch, whiskey, and other spirits?
Neither do.
Well,
Just beer at Boone's Farm?
No.
One's Granville Mill, the
What's TBD?
proposed transfer that was approved by this council.
Mhm.
The other is just a.
Drive-through.
Drive-through. The drive-through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What was it?
the drive-through.
Drive-through.
Downtown drive-through.
Okay, so no top shelf stuff? Denied.
Okay.
Looking for Christmas gifts?
Any issues that you'd like Teresa to know about any of these? Hearing none, we're moving forward. Citizen comments on matters not on the agenda. Ms. Monroe, did we get any speaker slips?
I did get one
Okay.
from Mike Rush.
Mike Rush.
Do we need to start the timer?
No. That's my official
We
duty.
really have an egg timer?
My official duty.
I pulled out the egg timer because I didn't have
Oh, man.
the big one set.
If it works, you got 3 minutes. You don't have to say your address anymore either.
All right, very good. Is this working? I'll hear it.
It is working. It's
Working.
not the strongest.
Okay, very good. So my name is Mike Rush. I'm a resident on Duncan Plains. And the reason I'm here tonight is my property is severely impacted by the Groves substation, electrical substation they're building back on what was the Heimerl Field and the Dagg Farm property at the road going next to it. I'm here because a lot of things that have happened and stress it's caused in my family could have been easily avoided. Now, most of you know where I live, and if you didn't know where I live and you saw the property, the plan for this property, the adjacent property owner should have been contacted and told what was going to happen around their properties. Okay? So the first thing that happened on my property was we saw these survey stakes go in, and they were placed poorly, and they were saying they're going to cut down pine trees that were on my back property that I've been planting for the last 30 years. Now, if you come to my house, my property, at the edges of it's like a park. And you'll meet my neighbors because they walk it every night along with my wife and I. The pine trees are shaped into a tunnel. My son was going to propose to his fiance there because it's so beautiful. Those were all going to get cut down. Fortunately, after many emails and phone calls into different companies, whether it's New Albany Company or the Energy Cooperative, I got a hold of the right people. They came out and walked my property with me, which what they should have done to start with. And we learned that not only were the stakes in the wrong place, but even if some of my trees were on the property line or slightly over, they didn't want to cut any of them down. They actually want to put more trees up and more boundaries there. So they're working with me, and they're going to preserve my property and make it better with what they're doing. The second thing that happened is the pond, the big drainage retention pond they're putting back there. Right, there's an incredible amount of water that flows through my property underground 90% of the time, and the other 10% of the time there's an incredible amount of water that flows over the surface of my property during big storms. No one was aware of this. No one came and asked me. No one walked the property with me. So I saw, back it up a little, everyone was working out there is really nice. So I've been able to go up to contractors and talk to them. I talked to the contractor that was building that property. He showed me the plans in the back of his pickup truck. They were going to build the retention pond, hold the water back, and then slowly drain it out on the surface to a pipe that leads to nowhere on my property. I have a 20-foot long, 12-inch wide pipe that goes under one of my walking trails just to preserve my trail, but it goes nowhere. It's when the big rains happen, I want the water to flow under my trail versus washing it out. They thought it was a pipe that went somewhere. They're going to do a surface drain to my pipe and run the water on the surface over my property, regardless of whether it's 4th of July rain or the big rains. Okay? My property is dry 90% of the year. And with what they're proposing, every time it rains, I'm going to have surface water on there. Now, much to my surprise, I had a meeting with them last Monday. along with Mr. Stannard there, who was recommended to go with me by Mr. Orsini, which I really appreciate. We had a very, very productive meeting. They were very receptive. They didn't have any idea that underneath their property was a 20-inch field tile that drained that entire property back there. So whenever it rained, the water pulled up, drained down into that field tile, drained under my property and my neighbor's property, the Petries. So it was very, very positive. They're going to change their design so that when that pond drains, it's going to go into a surface drain down into the field tile and go under my property, keep my property dry and my neighbor's dry. Proposed. It's not 100%. Now, that was last Monday. I haven't heard anything from them yet, but I'm going to give them slack. It was Monday of Thanksgiving week. I don't know about you guys, but I've done not a whole lot either during that time. But I will contact them later in the week. But for some reason, if this does not work out, and I've gone to my township trustees as well, I need your guys to have my back. They cannot flood my property every time it rains. Okay, that's unacceptable. My character of my property needs to stay the same. And I'm very confident after my meeting with EMHT, the reception that we got and everything, that we're going to be okay. Okay. But once again, this was a massive amount of stress that's put on my family that could have easily been averted by, hey, Mike, here's what's going on. Here's the plans months ago. And then we look at this and tell them, hey, there's a field tile here. They wouldn't be scrambling now during the middle of their construction of how they're going to change things during the middle of their construction where they could have planned it at the beginning. Okay? So my ask for you guys is, you're going to be developing around a lot of people out here. Go talk to them. Okay, I'm a rational guy. I'll sit down. I try to get the yes. You guys all know I've been very active in this community over the last 20 years on different projects. I've said no, but I always tried to find a way to work the yes, and I always got there. Okay? Now, this development's going across about 60% of my southern property line. So you got one more shot at me. The other part, I don't know what's going over there. But when it happens, you got plans. Send somebody out and knock on my door and say, this is what we're proposing. And I'll take a look at it and see if we can improve it, make it better. Okay? That's my ask for that. My other thing here,
We've, you got about 30 seconds. We're over
Yes,
3
this
minutes.
guy.
All the convinced their little egg
Okay,
carton
well,
was working.
It don't
My
work.
time is through.
It's not work.
the other thing, the security lights that are out there that we see, it's all New Albany now. Don't bring those to Johnstown. Okay, I don't want those around my house when this project's built. Just don't do it, okay? That can't be possibly allowed in our zoning to have that kind of security lights that's gonna go up around me and my neighbors, okay? Please don't do that. The other thing, Duncan Plains Road. I've been to some CID meetings. I've signed up for their emails. Never got one. So do you guys have any information on what's gonna happen to Duncan Plains Road?
There's been no news on it.
No?
We haven't got anything.
Okay. I also volunteered my side of the street to have the bike trail. Okay. But, okay. The other thing, the stoplight at Duncan Plains. If you're heading east on Duncan Plains and go up to 62 and you want to make a left turn at any time of the day when it's busy, the amount of traffic coming off Clover Valley and Duncan Plains across if you're heading west on Duncan Plains, okay? The amount of traffic coming off of Clover Valley and Duncan Plains heading east, you can't make a left turn. One car, maybe two, that second car that goes through there is really risking a lot of things.
Okay.
That light needs to be improved for left turns heading west on Duncan Plains during busy times. It's getting dangerous.
Jack, whose responsibility is that light? Is that the township or ours?
Township, I believe.
Okay.
Probably ODOT.
Okay.
Yeah, township always points back the other way, or the county. But either way, you guys have a lot more connections and know who to call than what I do. So I would ask
Okay.
that gets looked at.
Well, we thank you for your time, sir. If you have any other thing, please email us.
I have a question for Mr. Rush.
Yes.
EMH&T would have done the surveying there.
Yes.
That's who you spoke to about all of this?
Yes, sir.
Because you had mentioned there's a contractor on site as well too already?
Yeah, so the contractor was actually out there who's doing the physical work. I went and talked to him to say, what are you doing? What's it
Who's
going to look
I'm
like?
sorry, I don't know who the contractor is. Does anybody know?
Larry.
Who?
I think it's Licking Roar.
I believe it's like,
They're the property owner, but who's the contractor doing
the dirt work is being done by Layton.
Who?
Layton, L-A-Y.
DEN. Yeah. Okay.
So the foreman from Layton was the one that pulled out the plan and says, here's what it's going to look like. Here's where this is going.
Right.
Here's what the pond is. Here's the design of it. And that's
Okay.
when I first learned we had a problem.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, looking at the other three of you, you guys are not, no comments tonight? Thank you, Bob.
Timer works.
Okay. Council committee reports, planning and zoning, their 11:25 meeting was canceled. Their next is tomorrow at 5:30 in council chambers. A design review board met on November 25th. Ms. Monroe, anything to report from that one?
Yes, the COA for design of the Johnstown Monroe Local School District for the multipurpose building that's going right out here. The design was approved for that.
Okay.
And then the design was approved for the water plant. And then a sign for another business down in the Tractor Supply shopping center.
Okay. Perfect. Safety and service, their meeting was tonight. Mr. Green, anything you'd like to report?
Had a good discussion about our DORA and where to head from there, and some signage in Concord Crossing East.
Okay. Finance, we met last Monday to propose the budget that you'll see on the agenda tonight. Our next meeting is January 20th at 5:30 in council chambers.
Mayor?
Yes.
It's, I know it's a as-needed meeting, but I believe Ryan and Jeff, you're on the building committee with me?
Correct.
Is that correct? Are you guys available to meet prior to the council meeting next week?
How early?
Say 5:30? 5:45?
Let it interfere with finance?
There's nothing, currently there's nothing before the.
On the 9th?
Yeah.
I mean, unless finance committee needs to meet, I haven't heard that they do.
We have a meeting next week on the 9th.
Council meeting, because the council meeting moved up from the third Tuesday just to move it up, just so then the rest of the calendar is clear.
Right.
But prior to the meeting on the 9th, building committee, if you guys are available.
I am.
All right,
5:30?
if that works for you.
I mean, hour is enough?
More than enough time. I mean, really to review the lease with the Legion.
5:30.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. Director reports, we received the service department reports for water, sewer, and street. Does anyone have any questions on any of those three before we get to Jack's? Just bulk water sales are still high. Okay, Jack, if you want to go over your report?
Yes, just real quickly, the first item I want to keep you updated on is the water plant update. We are meeting weekly to discuss the construction and situations going on at the plant. We are now discussing the plant will have to be shut down to tie the new raw water lines in, so we're working well together. Bowen's been very good to work with. And just wanted to let council know, if you get any calls, the excess dirt is moving from the water plant out to Sportsman's Club Road. So there will be truckloads of dirt heading out, but they are leaving the facility. Item number 2, wastewater plant, just continuing to try to make things fit in a small area. We have some retainer and hillside problems. We're going to attack those again next week. Just an update on the leak detection. Correlators are currently stationed at Pershing, Upham, and Oregon. No leaks are being detected at this time. Working with EMH&T about running water and sewer, the future out to Duncan Plains. And we do have a little trouble with Phase 4 Concord Crossing East. We need to get that corrected before we accept that. I think EMH&T is working on getting ready to accept Phase 4. Some of the tracing wires not working. And the last thing I want to bring up is I just want to mention, brought 2 guys in on crew last night to plow snow, Jared Hopple and Bill Swick. And Bill worked straight through from midnight till 10 o'clock today. Jared worked from midnight till noon. Then Tim Perry jumped in and tried to help clean up during the day. I think for the manpower we have, they did a very good job. It was nonstop for them for 10 and 12 hours. If you ever did that in a truck and worry about hitting cars and people coming around the corner, it can be very stressful. So I just want to give a shout out to them because I feel they did a very good job in that last night.
Yes, sir.
Did a great job. Thank you.
I have a question, sir. Sorry to go back to the water.
Water? Okay.
Number 8, the letter went out. I received such a letter. Can you, about my pipe is, and many people receive these letters, they're unknown if it's PVC, if it's lead, if it's this, if it's that. Can you talk a little bit about risk, if any, or kind of what that is a little bit, so that, as my neighbors ask, what's this mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we all know, the EPA with the happenings up north of us and a few cities in Ohio where the concern for lead and lead poisoning in the water is something that has became a very severe target. So what we're doing, or what they're asking us to do, is as we uncover lines, and I'm also waiting for a grant to come through because we have a large amount of service lines that we don't know what they're made of. And if they're galvanized under the influence of lead, that galvanized can pick up the lead and hold it and then release it later into the house. Now, the fact that we are a lime soda treatment plant is very beneficial to us. We don't have aggressive water, so therefore it doesn't eat into the lead and release it. Now, to the best of my knowledge, and I've been here 45 years and I've seen many, many service lines throughout town, I do not believe we have any lead, what they call lead goosenecks or lead lines in the city. The last lead lines I saw were all on South Main Street,
Oh,
one
thanks,
of the
Jeff.
businesses.
Yeah. Oh,
And
business.
some of you may recall, we ran a new water main down what was known as Post Office Alley and removed all those lead services before this ever became an issue. So we have things working in our favor. Number one, I think most of those lines have been replaced with copper over the years. We are now moving to a PEX material because we also are now monitoring copper. But what really works in our favor is the type of treatment plant that we decided to build 30 years ago is a lime-based plant, higher pHs, water's not aggressive, so it's not eating into the pipe. So risk is very minimal. However,
If there's lead pipes.
if there's lead pipe, and I don't believe there is any.
No guarantees, though.
Because normally when you run down the street, you don't put this one in lead, this one in
Right.
copper, this one in galvanized. The age of the street usually dictates what was there. And I do know we have some old galvanized left, but I don't think there's any lead pigtails attached to it.
Right.
I think it's galvanized clear to the main.
Okay.
But as I said, we are keeping an eye because I'm hearing that EPA is going to come up with grants to do excavations, not huge excavations, but just bore down on the line, see what the material is, chart it, and move on. So if I can find that grant or hit that grant, that's what we're going to do. But our risk is very, very low.
Okay.
Another component is every 3 years, we do lead and copper testing throughout the city. And we have never come to a target point or hit point on any of the houses that we have checked.
And you have multiple test points throughout the city. It's not
20.
just a neighborhood, right? Thank
20
you.
is what the state requires at this time.
Okay.
And if you do have a lead hit, then you're required to test every year. Because we have never had one, we test every 3 years.
Is there anything that a homeowner, that if they think they have lead pipes from connecting to the main, that they could test themselves?
Well, they
Like-
can't, they really could send it into the health department.
Right?
But if you do discover a lead line, and what we try to ask most of the customers is see what the pipe is coming into your house, because odds are they ran lead all the way outside and then
Yep.
put copper inside.
Yep.
And the city will actually come in, if you invite us in, we'll come in and take a look to see what that pipe is that's come into the house, or into the basement.
Yep.
So we would be glad to do that if necessary. And then every line that we replace, or every line that we dig up and repair, as you know, we had 2 done over on Williams a month or so ago. then we are adding that to our database and removing them from the list of folks that have to have mailers sent to them.
Great.
And with that, that's a huge undertaking for a plant operator to do. 2,000 accounts he's trying to manage, so.
No, I appreciate that information. Thank you.
So I would tell you, risk low, and we're still, investigating and run tests every 3 years.
Well, we'll thank all those people from 30 years ago for the appropriate treatment. The next question I had on your service director report is that the wastewater treatment with the shoring and stuff,
Yeah,
I thought we resolved that with not needing to do it
we are not.
because
into
of the
bank.
acquired land.
We are not into the bank near as hard. We had a headwaters building, and then we had 2 Narita tanks, processing tanks that were gonna go into that hillside. With the proposed sell or swap or combination of both, with the JYAA,
Yeah,
we have the 2 Narita cells that were going to go into the main part of the bank have been moved
okay.
on the plans. Obviously, nothing built until everything's finished, but they have been moved on the plans. But the Headworks building still got into that hillside a little bit.
Okay,
And we're trying to find, the contractors say to do it, to build it in a safe manner, they want a $300,000 upcharge. So I'm working with Jacobs Engineering to see if we can scoot the building out, try to get away a little more from the hillside so we don't have to pay that upcharge during construction.
okay. Thank you.
Now, 300,000 sounds like a lot of money, but when you're building a $50 million facility, it's still a lot of money, but on the, the whole.
$300,000 is still a lot of money,
It's
Jack.
a lot of money.
Thanks for trying to save $300,000.
So that's what we're working on right now.
Anybody else have questions for Jack? I have one, just curious. What is the sanitary sewer tracing wire?
So you can find
Okay,
out your shit. What are you talking
What?
about, man?
What we're doing now is, so many of the times, we are getting so many locates right now, and the old sections now don't have tracing wire over it. So the guys are looking at valves, looking at manholes, using witching sticks, which is not a real professional way to do things, trying to determine where that line is, so when they're boring new fiber lines, new gas lines in, that they don't hit them.
Low voltage
So
signal.
everything new that is.
It's just a wire that's,
Excuse me?
it's just a wire then?
It's a wire that's installed to the sanitary line, and in Phase 4, Concord Crossing East, it's not working. So before we accept that, I've made contact with the contractor out there, say, hey, this isn't working.
Okay,
So before we accept it, I'm gonna make sure we get it in working order.
okay. I was just curious. Thank you. Moving on to table legislation, which there's none, so we're going to go to public hearings of legislation. And the first is ordinance 12-2025, an ordinance to accept an amendment to the official zoning map of the city of Johnstown. This is the old K-Steps building.
Correct.
He was here last week. Does anyone in council have any questions about changing this from UR1 to GCC1?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
One question. Is there any other properties around that would be appropriately changed at the same time? Or we can't do that without the applicant asking anyhow, so never mind.
I believe they're all houses.
We could, but let
Well,
them
there's
ask.
a
Okay, yeah, no,
dentist
no.
office right
But
next to
they
it.
have to come to us with, we can't do it without their request. I guess we could, but it's much harder. Never mind, sorry.
You will have one other coming up
Okay.
that has requested the same, so.
Okay.
Do you need a motion to,
Well, I need to open up to the public if no one on council has anything.
okay?
Does the public have any questions or comments on this item? Okay. What would council like to do with this item?
I'd like to make a motion to pass ordinance 12-2025 as written.
Second.
Jeff Carr,
Affirm.
Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Dave Seeland.
Yes.
Brian Green.
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yes.
Mayor Garner.
Yes.
Les Coogan.
Yes.
Okay. Next is ordinance 13-2025, an ordinance to amend section 730 of the city's codified ordinances. I believe this is for the food truck, yes. This was changes to the food truck ordinance. It was a lot of lining out of items that we're not going to make them have to provide for their, to be able to do business here in Johnstown. The date of introduction was November 18th. This is the second one, the public hearing and vote. Does anyone in council have any questions about this ordinance? Change to it. Hearing none, open it up to the public. Okay, what is the will of council for ordinance 13-2025?
I'll make a motion to approve as written.
I'll second.
Brian Green.
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yes.
Mayor Barnard.
Yes.
Yes.
Jeff Barr.
Yes.
Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Dave Sealand.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to one of the fun ones, Resolution 2025-45. This is where you guys need to speak up if you have problems on this one. This is a resolution establishing the meeting dates and time for all regular city council meetings for the 2026 calendar year. So it is our standard Tuesdays, first and third Tuesdays, except for May 6th, which is a Wednesday because voting day is May 5th. And then we are taking the first meeting off in July, like we did this past year, if you guys don't have a problem with it, to give us a summer break. It gives us basically a month off council. And then the November 4th would be a Wednesday because of voting on the 3rd. And then the 2 December meetings are back-to-back. Does anyone up here have any changes they want to make to this, or? Anyone in the audience?
I'm gonna say the only thing, and I understand the anti-opinion on this, but I was just making everybody aware, the costume parade we've had an issue with the last couple of years. That's gonna be October 20.
What
Unless we move, I know it was a problem for a couple of us this year and we brought it up, so we may wanna,
It
my
won't
idea
be-
is we may wanna coordinate that better just to make sure, cause I don't wanna miss a council, we shouldn't give up city business over an event, but we should coordinate.
They're going to have it on the 20th?
It'll probably be the 20th, cause it's always the week before trick or treat.
It's usually on Thursday though, so we should be okay.
So they did it Tuesday the last 2 years.
I think it's because they did it the Tuesday before
Okay.
trick or treat.
I'm just putting it in my calendar to coordinate now.
No, do it.
Cause I've missed the last two.
Okay. I'll text Shirley right now. Tell her don't
Okay.
do it on the 20th.
Tried to alleviate that this year.
March
but
7th.
Yeah, we tried, we
Shame on
moved
you.
the zoning meeting and then,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, if there's a beer drinking day, dude.
You guys have any problems with any of the dates? Okay. What is the will of council with Resolution 2025-45?
March 7th, St. Patrick's Day.
We'll have fun afterwards.
Okay.
What does council want to do with this resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. We have to set the dates. I'll second it.
Brian Green.
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yes.
Mayor Barnard.
Yes.
Wes Cole. Jeff Barr.
Another affirmation.
Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Dave Sealand.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to Resolution 2025-46, a resolution establishing the meeting dates for all regular Planning and Zoning Commission and Design Review Board meetings for the 2026 calendar. Their calendar is much like ours. The only dates changed is we give them a date off in July, and then the December 9th meeting would be on a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday. All the other meetings are their established dates and times.
Do you need a motion on that one?
Yes, we do.
I'd like to.
Well, let me open up for comments.
Commerce, yeah, comment.
No comments? You guys have any comments? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to pass resolution 2025-46 as written.
Second.
Thank you, Wes.
Jeff Barr.
Affirm.
Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Dave Sealand.
Yes.
Brian Green.
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yes.
Mayor Barnard.
Yes.
Wes Cole.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to Resolution 2025-47, a resolution establishing submission deadlines for Planning and Zoning Commission and Design Review Board applications in the 2026 calendar year. So these are all the dates that the submission deadline, we have to establish this so it's known for the next year when the submissions are due for design review and planning and zoning. Does anyone up here have any questions or comments on that?
No, the only thing that, so I'm always happy to see that we're giving zoning more time to take a look at things. So with the submission dates being roughly a month ahead, I just want to make sure that when things are turned in, if we do have a cancellation, especially residential versus commercial, if we have a cancellation at a meeting, I just want to make sure there's not a residential permit sitting for 2 months on a possible variance or something like that.
Okay. Noted. Okay, does anybody else have any questions or comments on this?
Cancel this one isn't an application, so,
Okay.
If there's not a quorum.
or that.
Yeah. Okay. Does the audience have any questions or comments on this? Okay, what is the will of council for 2025-46? 47?
7.
Make a motion to approve. It's written.
Just a minor, very minor, the exhibit says 2025-46, Exhibit A, when it probably should be 47.
Oh, thank you, I'll correct that.
Okay. So Ryan made a motion. Do we have a second?
Number
I'll
2,
second. Yeah, go ahead.
Tiffany.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
No, you
It's all
spoke
It's all
first.
You
You
beat to it.
spoke first.
Ryan Green,
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yeah.
Matt Barnard.
Yes.
Wes Cobble.
Yes.
Jeff Barr.
Affirm.
Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Dave Sealand.
Yes.
Okay, another fun one, where we're just flying through these. This is Resolution 2025-48, a resolution establishing the 2026 schedule of holidays for the city of Johnstown. Here are all the holidays for the city of Johnstown. They get 12 days off. Is council happy with this? Do they want to make any changes to this? Speak now.
I mean, you're contractually obligated to these.
Yes.
Let's not be making any changes then.
But you bring up something every year, so I just want to, if we want to get it out now, or,
Yeah, as long as this lines up with what we've already obligated ourselves to in the contracts, I'm good with it.
okay.
I can just clarify and just give a little bit more information. So all contracts are not the same. And I'm assuming you're referencing the union contract. So the OPBA police, it does specifically state scheduled out holidays. The service union contract states them, but has a provision that if our handbook, which is representative of anybody outside of the union, should change, that it will reflect and mirror that. So I just wanted to clarify, some contracts are in lockstep with this particular piece. Other contracts have some movement, and our handbook obviously is not a contractual piece that's set by you all by resolution. So you can continue on the course you were on. I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
We should try to get all that aligned over time. It's a day here or there, so I don't think it's killing anyone, but I would like this to be straight through.
Currently, they all are aligned with this particular schedule. It's just the wording in the contract that allows for some ability to navigate. But to your point, Bob, I believe when we do the OPBA contract, it'll have that movability within that contract as well, so that it'll represent the same wording as the utility contract, and then obviously things can move off of the handbook. But that'll be part of the negotiations that we'll walk through.
Perfect.
Any questions, comments from citizens? Okay, what is the will of council for Resolution 2025-48?
Motion to approve is written?
Okay, Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Dave Sealand.
Yes.
Ryan Green.
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yes.
Matt Barnard.
Yes.
Wes Cobble. Yes. Jeff Barr.
Affirm.
Okay, we're back to ordinances and introduction of legislation. The first is ordinance 14-2025, an ordinance to amend section 1159 of the city's codified ordinances. Mr. Stainerd, if you'd like to give a briefing on this?
Sure. It was brought up to council over the last calendar year to review and evaluate light manufacturing. So this got kicked to Planning and Zoning Commission with the Planning and Zoning Trevor. He worked through it with the Planning and Zoning Commission. They have come up with the modifications in the red line version that you see before you. Their recommendation is to move forward with the one that is drafted. And, Trevor, our planner, is also on board as he drafted most of these in conjunction with myself to get us to where we're at with it, so.
Ryan, since you're in zoning, do you guys have any concerns or questions on this?
So zoning did not as a whole. I did. I had a few questions on it. I'd also like to see this come through to another meeting, just for public feedback. I know that there's property owners, business owners in the area. Probably need a little bit more notification on this. It's gonna affect quite a few people. I know that we've had public meetings on this, but I think a little bit more time on the docket there would give everybody a
Why,
chance to.
if we have public meetings on this, why do we need to send it back to a public meeting? It seems like a waste of time.
You know how the public meetings go. Not everybody always sees them.
But that's their own fault if they're not paying attention.
Well, they may not know that there's something they need to pay attention to, especially if they're not a towner.
Ms. Monroe?
The public, this was in the paper. It's been in the packet. The notice of public hearing has been posted. Yeah, I mean.
How many readings and how many times did it go before zoning?
It'll.
It'll get a second
well,
reading
it was
next week.
approved- It was passed along in October by planning and zoning.
How many readings did they have? They had like
I
3,
don't know if it had a technical reading, but I mean, the planning and zoning
worked on it.
meetings are public.
What are the
People have
exceptions to
comments.
it?
But the city has advertised
So
for the public
my big
hearing.
issue.
If you could speak,
You know,
hold on, okay. Ryan, if you could say what your issues, or what you think the
So,
issues are with it?
Just with my issue along that line is, so it says here in G, the following uses may be developed on parcels 2 acres or larger that have frontage on and across from US 62 Commerce Boulevard and Greenscape Court. The only issue I had with that is, there are a few businesses that are currently in there that have signaled to us in the last couple of years that they'd like to develop more, they'd like to grow. Their current Johnstown businesses that would like to grow within that footprint. There is a mechanism in here under conditional use to be able to do that, but it is a larger process where, you know, if they were just moving down the road or moving over a parcel, they'd have to come through a much larger process versus just being able to go with the same zoning. I think that also helps us or hurts us with site selection in the past. When things are conditional use, I think if there's more hoops to jump through, I think that we've seen less. I do like some of this because it is more open than what we've had in the past, but I don't know that it's everything that we want.
Okay,
There's also a couple smaller things in here, but that's the main stuff.
okay. Well, we were going to have a second reading next week, so if anyone,
I'd like to bring something up for discussion. Under F5, there's a note that talks about the prohibition of solvents in general, not completely, but talks about that they are less favored. But then under G, you popped out a dry cleaning plant, and they're brought right back in and specifically named. So that those two things do not align. I'm not necessarily opposed to dry cleaning plants, but I would like to see much more detailed language about preventative, proactive measures that if something would occur, that land isn't scuttled. Because if the chemicals they've traditionally used, I don't know what the current chemicals are, do spill or there's a problem, that is a long-term problem. These are not easily cleaned up items. I just want to make sure that if we're allowing it, we have provisions for, let me say, similar to if you put up a tower, we have provisions that you must take it down when you're done using it. So if you're going to put in that type of facility, you've got to have the bonding or whatever necessary to remove, clean up, and take away whatever's left.
can we get with Trevor to see if he can add language to that, Sean?
Yeah. I'll have him review B and how it.
Yeah, 5B, I'm sorry, let me, F5B and G1A seem to be slightly and potentially in conflict with each other.
Sure. I'll have him evaluate that and see if there is indeed a conflict there and if he can harmonize the two.
And it's very possible, my understanding of what
That's
volatile
where
or
I'm at.
solvents are
I'm gonna-
is an easy answer.
Ms. Hollis, you said you have a question?
Then-
Yeah, I have a question. Just to clarify, under conditional uses,
Which,
F
number?
through I, those are no longer conditional uses, those are allowed uses now? Or are they removed completely?
They're removed completely. Well, they were removed, so the red was everything that we're adding, and then we took those out of things that we were adding.
Say it again. So the red we added, or the red,
It's
item I,
crossed.
is I being removed or added?
I was
That's what I'm
added,
asking,
and
'cause
then
it's under
I was
conditional
removed
uses.
from our portion, I believe.
That's probably not a great example. That one was
Yeah.
specific to something that occurred a number of years ago referencing Pratt's.
All the stuff lined out is coming out.
Yes.
Not-
It won't be going into the legislation.
So is then it considered an allowable use, or is it still conditional? That's where I'm confused.
It's being,
Does
well,
that make sense?
I don't, did pharmaceuticals move up? Because like confectionery
Right. Some
did
things
move
got
up.
moved into what's just outright allowed, and then some things got, like, so for instance, some of the conditionals got moved into the allowable
Allowable.
uses, and they're no longer conditional because they're outright entitled. I would need a little bit of time to obviously work through the document. If that's the concern, Ms. Hollis, I can certainly check and see which ones were just removed in their entirety and which ones were moved up into just allowable
If
uses.
you could just give us a short report, what was removed and what was moved for the next meeting?
Along with what Bob said, you know, we did take a look quite a bit at chemicals and things that would cause issues, smells, things like that. So I'm guessing pharmaceuticals is probably not something that we wanted potentially going into the water supply as far as the processing and manufacturing of pharmaceuticals, but I think if we don't have it in here, we may not, it doesn't look like we have it in here, but I would think we could add that to something. Obviously, if the raw product is coming in and all we're doing is bottling it, I think that's something that we can put in there, or if it's coming in a bottle and we're putting it in a box, I don't think that's too harsh.
My big concern is the chlorinated hydrocarbon. It is a separation of what a chemical is made up of to avoid saying a specific term,
Yep.
so.
If I may, can I go back to the question that Ryan had on if we're going to have Trevor evaluate some of these? Ryan, your question or concern was related to, I believe, the following uses may be developed on
So with the
parcels
frontage,
with the frontage on access from 62 Commerce Boulevard and Greenscape Court. What were your suggested changes to that or concerns that we can help identify?
so if somebody was in that specific light manufacturing district, now our light manufacturing, for anybody who hasn't looked at the map or doesn't have it in front of them, our light manufacturing district is a lot larger than you would expect. It kind of even goes into the east side of Main Street there. So that's why we added the acreage and the frontage, just to make sure that we were talking about a specific area that's the business district. If you looked at the business district, you would say that is the business district. You wouldn't think about the inside part of town. So we want to be able to have, you know, more positive things go into that area. But if you were to go down Sportsman's Club, technically, or you were to go down, what's the other road that's over there at the end of Commerce?
Endeavor.
Endeavor. So if you go down Endeavor, you could go down that road, but you're not in this light manufacturing district as it pertains to this, because Endeavor's not listed on there. So at least if we could add Endeavor or Sportsman's Club Road, if you wanted to develop, so if you were Atrium and you wanted to continue developing down through there where you already own property, you would have to come in through a much larger process of conditional usage.
So I'll jump in a little bit and just,
At Endeavor.
This is something that we missed.
Okay.
I'll jump in if you want, and I just want to clarify, and you can do however you so choose. There was a thought to not include Sportsman's Club or Endeavor because the concern that council had previously stated that the empty large parcels of land, by unlocking those, could allow for a wide variety of uses, such as the ones listed here, that could impact the infrastructure related to that area. There was even discussion about whether some of that land should be turned to a different particular zoning. So again, deferring to what you all want, but really the idea of adding G was specifically to make it more restrictive for those big, large parcels of land. If it is the intent of council to allow all of these uses within that entire district, we could certainly just remove G altogether. But again, I add some caution because the unknown that you may get related to the unlocking of those large sections of land could have some implications with traffic infrastructure and things like that without council having any say. And again, we walked through it a little bit before with Kansai Helos. It wasn't a use, it was outright allowed. We worked through the process with them, and then it became a product that council was agreeable to with some slight modifications, gave you all a little bit more of a hands-on approach to it, somewhat more restrictive, but still allowing the process to have the ability to go through. Again, let us know and we'll deviate however necessary.
So today, those properties they're listed as light manufacturing in that district. And at least that's the intent for them to be in the light manufacturing district. So property owners that do own those, I'm sure that's what they've always thought they would be. And we've heard from them in the last couple of years about, what will happen with their properties. So that's what my idea was. We may need to have more discussion on that.
So your idea, Ryan, was you don't have a problem with G, you just wanted more added to it, or you wanted?
G's limiting to the entire area.
G is limiting to what the properties are currently intended for.
Right.
It's limiting it to just.
So when we walked through the Kansai Helos as an example, there was obviously a traffic study needed and all of those parameters that needed to be done to make sure that it didn't negatively impact the 6237 intersection with large amount of employment, which oddly you obviously want, but you want it in the right sections of town so that it doesn't create disastrous consequences for the residents that live around it.
So in the past, council's limited this so that they have to come to council to get permission to do that business there. That way we have more say over what can and cannot go there, correct?
That's correct. So the original light manufacturing code was really restrictive, and it was over the entire area. So Trevor, hearing what council was I thought saying, was the area that's kind of already developed, allowing those uses to be expanded. The buildings are already there. We kind of know what we're getting, and obviously limiting to parcels that are 2 acres or larger, so that we're not allowing small parcels that are probably, as Ryan mentioned, down by Ford Street, Ford Street, Track Street, and all of that to develop in a way that's probably not consistent with the comprehensive plan. So yes.
Frontage helps us too, sorry to interrupt,
No,
but
you're
the frontage helps us too, because if you were somehow able to cobble together a 2-acre parcel down in that area, you also have the frontage that you have to meet too. Because it keeps it in what we would all consider the business park proper.
So I'm trying, because I'm having a hard time understanding this because I'm not zoning. So you want to send it back because you,
I don't think we have to send it back.
so
I think
what
we
change do you want to make to
we
it? That's
can
what I'm trying to
discuss it as
understand.
council. I just want to be able to open that area up.
Well, let me
There
ask
may
you,
be a better way to do it than adding frontage on that street, but it's still,
He was saying add
Is-
Endeavor as one of the streets.
Ryan, is this an
It's gonna
opportunity
cost
for the
street
Economic
consolidation,
Development
also
Committee
Endeavor and
members to
What was the other
take
one?
the draft and
That's gotta be the one on the
the
street.
connections out there in the business
very
park?
Could be.
Is there any intention of any of those members discussing with,
well, when we had the meetings with them, I don't know, in the last year or so, Wes could tell you, when we've met with them, that was the feedback that we took from them, was that they had ideas for expansion. They wanted to know what was going on with that area.
So what's the problem with just adding Endeavor to it?
It opens up a huge tract of land. And so with that tract of land, you're gonna open the door potentially to some type of industry that has large levels of employment, large levels of traffic, warehousing. Warehousing's
So that
typically
they could-
high traffic.
What you're
but
saying is
low
that they'd be able to
employment.
build on it?
Correct.
But they're still got to come to council.
They can build on it, but the uses are entitled, so they're entitled to if the use is included in here, and it's within those boundaries that you want to
If it's
expand or
under
keep.
G1 through 9 or 10, whatever.
And if you expand that, then it's permitted by right. They
They're
no
allowed to,
longer
they're
have-
allowed to do these businesses that are listed here.
All the businesses that are listed, they are outright allowed. They don't need to come through council for
Do
any
they still
type of-
have to meet, like the traffic study? Are they still required to do all of those things?
If it's an entitlement, it makes it very, very complicated to request any type of traffic study.
But John, Endeavor was excluded, but Endeavor right now is you go in Commerce, you make a left. The only property that is owned currently, which it obviously can change hands, is
Atrium.
Atrium, 48 plus or minus acres. It does not, that parcel of land does not connect to Sportsman's Club. It only connects if Endeavor, as Endeavor kind of
Gives it the frontage.
gives it the frontage.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
So the way I look at this is the benefit of clearing a path, if you will, for more development over there outweigh the potential risk of getting development that may not be ideal or the best fit for us or the best cost for us. And whenever I come into an unknown, because you can still develop out there, you just have to come from scratch. Right, just come and say, hey, this is what we want to do, and go through the hoops. These are large pieces of property. Larger developments typically expect that, in my experience. So to me, to add a speed bump, to say, okay, hold it, we're not saying no, we're just saying, hey, you're not entitled to it. Bring it to us, let us all understand it, let's see what it goes, let's see what the roads, let's see what the plumbing and the water, and all those other things, and how it fits and connects to the next thing, and all that. I think a speed bump is not only warranted, it's advised in this circumstance to prevent a hodgepodge of things popping up and then trying to make all the pieces fit together after the fact. Because it's not a no, it's just not a big flag saying, if you've got a shovel-ready job that meets one of these, we're ready to go. And they can still do any one of these or anything else on those properties, they just have to go through the permitting process from step one to whatever. So I don't see a reason or a compelling reason to remove it, because I don't think it's going to make us miss opportunities that potentially are out there for businesses we want.
This is
I don't
only the
think-
first reading, so we can add stuff next week if we wanted to it.
No, and I totally see your point. I mean, this draft that we put forward here is much better than what we've currently been working with. And obviously, what we've currently been working with has stifled business in that area, because when's the last time anything really new went in there?
There's a lot.
Kansai Helios has gone in there to an existing business.
There's a lot of things in motion. I don't disagree with you, but yes, there's so many things that are happening now. I mean, we're not going to have pottery or figurines pop up or a grain mill, right? That was the original legislation. So as we plod forward, I think I'd rather take 10 baby steps than one big long one when it comes to stuff that's going to be permanent.
So again, this is the first reading, so if you have any changes, please come. Mr. Cook, would you like to say anything?
Is there a way to make it to where it's admissible, but they still have to have traffic studies and things like that?
It makes it more complicated. Condition, by definition, condition means that you have the opportunity to put additional conditions associated with the entitlement. Without the conditional piece in there, you can certainly request a traffic study, but it makes it more complicated and difficult for you to enforce the fact that you're affecting traffic at a different intersection rather than where they're exiting their particular truck traffic or employment traffic onto that specific road. You could probably make a case that Commerce is the main thoroughfare. But again, you start to pull it into 6237, it gets a little more complicated, but they're still entitled to do it. I can get you a more definitive answer on that. I think it's a great question. I think that's the big piece of it as far as traffic and infrastructure goes. The other thing that I would have you look at, obviously, Endeavor Court unlocks, what do we got, 48 acres. I think in our comprehensive plan, and I'll have to go back and check that, the other large tract parcel that's there, all the way to the east. I believe in the comprehensive plan, may be flipped to residential. If you're going to unlock the back half of that manufacturing, then you need to seriously consider unlocking that in a different mechanism and manner so that it's all consistent. Again, you're talking about 48 plus 67 and 60 acres. I don't know that, I can't understand the logic to do Endeavor and not do Sportsman's Club. If you're going to do one, you might as well do the other because they both unlock a fair amount of land. And I think if you didn't do that, you're probably going to have maybe some legal challenge associated with one property owner versus another.
Okay, if you could find out and get us some answers
I certainly
on the
can.
traffic, especially. Okay. So as the first reading, any other questions from? Okay. Next item is ordinance 15-2025, an ordinance to amend chapter 1177 of the City of Johnstown Codified Ordinances.
Sorry, Mayor.
Yep.
Going back, I'm just adding context to that previous discussion, is that Abbey Leasing or IMR, and they own several hundred acres surrounding that flag property held by Atrium, going out Sportsman's Club into Liberty Township. It may be irrelevant, but Abbey Leasing probably owns a couple hundred. Is it IWR? Right?
You're right, Jeff.
IWR owns 25 that abuts that Atrium. I mean, I can see that they've bought some residential homes, Abbey Leasing, where people have built. I know the one guy at 8897 Sportsman's Club. I just find it interesting, that's all. A lot of property out that way.
Yes.
That's large swaths of land owned by an individual company.
Okay.
Would we prefer it to be full process though, versus any entitlements at all? Right, isn't that the best product?
The other piece of that is if you notice and I hate to call out specific property owners, I feel but we'll just do it for the sake of keeping everyone on the same page. The Atrium property obviously abuts all of the new Concord Crossing East, which is a residential. So
Correct.
having, as Bob put it, I liked it, having some speed bumps or some additional processes in place on a property that abuts residential, and adding conditions to it that may include additional buffering, depending on the types of use, things like that, I think are advantageous when you have the two uses abutting each other. So that's just that's probably why staff drafted it the way we did. So,
Okay.
but we'll change it however you so choose.
That's Atrium yeah.
That's just the property owner, yeah, not the building.
Well, that's the building
That's the
right
building
next
there,
to it.
yeah, and then-
That's the building, and then they own this property.
Okay. Moving on to ordinance 15-25, an ordinance to amend chapter 1177 of the City of Johnstown's Codified Ordinances. Mr. Stainer, if you could walk us through what the changes are here.
Catch up.
Is this the sign?
Yes.
This one's super complicated, if I remember correctly. Is this the sign? Somebody
Yes.
help me out. All right,
Basically,
so
we're helping the.
division
It's
versus
easier on our
times.
staff.
I would argue that the original intent was to have it as times and not divided.
What do you mean?
So there's a formula that's based on the square footage. So the allowable square footage is based on the linear feet of the building. I don't have any notes in front of me, so we'll go freehand. So let's say it's 30 linear feet in the front of the building. If you did the multiplication on that, 30 divided by 1.5 versus 30 times 1.5, it comes up with a significantly less number, which made it, in some ways, good. You want smaller signage,
We're
but
changing from divided by 1.5 to times 1.5.
correct.
Okay.
And just for reference, the Jersey Mike sign that you see there today would not have been possible under the division metrics. I believe they would have had a 16 square foot sign versus, I believe what they ended up with was like 25, which is, I think, if you drive by there, it's an appropriate size sign. This is just for the GCC2 district. Obviously, this is not for the GCC1, so the downtown has a little bit different context. But when we're talking about GCC2, and in terms with what's already allowed out there, this is more in conformity with the current existing signage, so.
Okay. Does anybody on council have a problem with this? Is the public? Kyle? Does it make sense?
Yeah, that day.
That day. I can give you a visual reference. So
It makes more sense than it did before, and it'll true up. what we
Multiplying
have
by
across the
1.5 versus dividing by 1.5 reduces it by, increases it by about a third of the square footage.
if you take 30, it's 20. If you times it, it's 45. So in reference, 4x8 sign, or I'm sorry, a sheet of plywood, 4x8, 32 square. So your sign would have to be smaller than a 4x8 sign. And I know that may sound large, but when you put it up on a building,
It's not,
it starts to just get evaporated into the, into the wall.
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so no questions from public, and this is an ordinance, so it's just the first reading. We will come back to this next week. On to the fun one of the night, ordinance 16-2025, an ordinance to approve expenses and other expenditures of the city of Johnstown, Licking County, state of Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2026, and ending December 31st, 2026. So you have the draft appropriations there. Let's start this off easy. What are your questions? If we could start on Jeff's side of the table first. This is your,
I was in the meeting.
I know, I just want to make sure you guys.
That's easy. 'cause
That's why I'd
I did
start
it
with
easy,
easy.
'cause two of them were there.
Okay, Dave and Ryan.
Go ahead. I'd like to see some more of this broken out, and and there may just be a copy that I don't have that's more broken out to help me understand this a little bit better.
What would you like to see? Or what would you like to know? We can start answering questions tonight.
Just going down through, I mean, obviously,
I'll help out. We talked about some of the other contractual, kind of,
We went through all the contractual service ones.
right,
Mr. Mayor.
But
Ryan, I can email,
Yeah.
or Teresa, I actually
that'd be great,
anticipated.
because just the contractual services, miscellaneous, stuff like that.
But that's,
I anticipated this
Yeah.
question, so I actually printed off a
Okay.
granular, so I can get that to you. Yeah, you want to grab them? I forgot to bring them over.
My other question was gonna be, how much time, the last finance meeting that I came to, I know that the draft was pretty early, and our finance director and our city manager, I know they hadn't had a lot of time with the draft.
the second one, they had more time.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that these are all fully vetted out, and everybody's good with these.
So we walked through many different things. The first of it was the question on the Port Authority split. There were questions on where that money went. There was $944,000. $372,000 went to sewer improvement fund. $372 went to water improvement fund. And $200,000 went to the budget stabilization fund. So that's why our budget stabilization fund's up there. So only 2,000 of it's in general, and that's in the budget stabilization. And there's nothing coming out of budget stabilization for the last 4 years, I don't think. 3 years for certain that we've not spent a dime out.
And we're almost where we need to be.
Yes.
That is also correct.
I would not look at that as a piggy bank.
So one of the other questions was the breakout of taxes. So we are bound to have 28% of our funds go to capital improvements.
Thank you.
That this year amounts to, hold on, 3, 7,
Anybody else?
800, 900.
Some people over.
It's a little over $1 million. And of that breakout, of that 28% of our general fund, $345,000 is going to principal for our debt. $104,000 is going to interest. $450,000 is budgeted for streets, highways, so our capital projects funds. And then $63,000 are going to streets, highways for Leafy Dell. So for the last several years, we've been putting $63,500 to the Leafy Dell project, because it's a state project that we've had to put money to, so that has been going there. And that fund, give me a second.
4903.
Yeah, I'm trying
And
to,
it's fluctuated from year to year.
and so that fund right now has a total of 1.6, wait,
You're looking at Leafy Dell,
yes.
296.
It's got $296,000 in it right now from us saving, so the project there, it'll come from that.
Some people don't want them, some people do. I
anybody
think
else-
Bob's got a digital copy of it.
I don't have one.
Tiffany, Wes?
Thank you.
One of the other questions is, we have different funds that have to be stabilized by the general fund. The general fund has to be stable, or general fund has to stabilize other funds. So this year, we're putting $220,000 of tax money to street construction maintenance to make that fund whole. $15,000 is going to state highway fund. $9,500 is going to the employee fund. So the employee fund, for those who are listening and want to know, is every 7 years, we have an event where we have an extra pay during the year, just how timing happens. So we budget $9,500 every year to go to that fund, so when that extra year payroll, it doesn't hit the city hard. So we transfer $9,500 that. And then the other three is going to the debt service fund, capital improvements fund, for general and Leafy Dell. So that's where those funds get their money from, is general fund. One of the questions that came up is, the city currently has the fireworks budgeted at $15,000. We'd also put possibly the Christmas tree for $5,000, Grow Licking County for $10,000. Those are different funding that we'd put in there to help support the city. I'd spoke to Mr. Robertson, Trustee Robertson, that they are going to look, because he keeps saying that they have given money for the fire department. They're paying the salaries for those, that's their donation. I told him we do the same thing with the police, so we need them to give like $5,000 at least for some of these events, since the Monroe Township's also enjoying these events. So he said he would take it to his committee to help support put money for the Christmas tree each year, and also for the fireworks. And then there's money going to the Grow Licking County, which is to help bring more jobs to Johnstown, correct?
That's one that you all discussed, and I think it's a warranted discussion. There's a couple of different ways to evaluate it. I think, Jeff, you mentioned, is it just kind of a good faith participation with Licking County? That's certainly one way to look at it. Bob, I think you referenced, what value are we getting?
I would just ask them to say, hey, I would recommend this to the council, is that if we proceed and provide that money to them, we ask them to come back with an accounting of what effort they put in for the city of Johnstown. We're just not in a position to pitch money around. At 1%, we gotta look at it and say, and I think it's a reasonable, say, we don't have tax revenue to do this. Come in, give us a list of stuff that you've done. They don't have to hit if you're trying, right? You gotta pay for opportunities. And if they can't do that,
What was the amount for Grow Licking County?
10 grand.
we might be getting $100,000 worth of value. We might be getting zero. I don't know.
And it's not a locked-in number. You can give more or less. So
We want to participate. I think it's appropriate that we should participate, but it's also fair to say, hey, let's have a little bit of understanding on what's happening. We're the stewards of the coins.
So what would the rest of council like to do with that, Jeff? You want to keep it in there or no?
On what?
Huh?
Grow Licking County?
Yeah.
I want to talk about fireworks too.
Okay, we'll get the fireworks.
So that, well, I know, I'm with Bob, like, I don't know what we're getting our return on investment, if there's others on council that can articulate that, and are comfortable in doing so, to show us what it is. I'd probably be in favor of it, but how much was it again? I'm sorry, you told.
10 grand.
10.
I think probably Tiffany would probably know the most, since she was with the chamber and probably
And
worked with
essentially,
them.
the intent of Grow Licking County is to provide economic development opportunities and,
Do we want
I'm
to?
more than happy to talk offline. There's been some
Yeah.
changes recently with Grow Licking County. Alexis is no longer there. They've got a new person on board. I don't want to unpack any organization in a public forum, but if anybody has questions about it, I'd be happy to talk to you about some of the things that Grow Licking County has participated in for Johnstown over the past couple years. You may find it to be enough to warrant the $10,000, and you may find it that it doesn't measure the mark that you believe $10,000 is worth. That's somewhat subjective, but I can certainly try to articulate what they do, what they've done in the past. Do they have Johnstown's best interest at heart? Understand they represent the entire county. So are they lobbying for Johnstown, or are they lobbying for others involved with it? So these are all things that you want to determine and factor into your calculation. So we don't have a seat on the board either.
Are their contributions public?
I believe they are a public entity, so we could certainly look into the contributions.
Take a peek at who's doing what.
I think your big players are going to be Newark, so obviously the city of Pataskala.
Their budget's also probably a 10 multiple of ours. Maybe not quite that high, but close.
So the question comes down, if they're representing both of us, and how do we know we're getting our money's worth since we're only paying $10,000? I mean, are they going to give us the project over Heath?
I don't want the question to seem like it's coming from a place of contempt or doubt. It's coming
No,
from a
not.
pure
It's-
place of
It's
ignorance.
investing city money into
And
it, so are we
right.
getting a return on that investment?
just need to-
As
There
of
you
right
go.
now, I would say the answer is no.
All right. Well, let's follow up and see if we can change that, and then if you can come back and kind of let us know.
Yeah, then I think Tiffany nailed it on the head. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's are you getting a return on your investment? Whether they're trying to represent you or another municipality against a competing interest, sure, you could evaluate it that way, or are you able to spend that $10,000 more productively on some other means of advocating for business to locate here? Is that more productive? Or is it better served into streets or some type of program? I know we're trying to get some things off the ground, such as the DORA. That may have a larger economic development impact than expending that revenue to grow Licking County. So
Okay, so come back with ideas for next week. We'll try to do some research on their financial. Jeff wants to talk about fireworks. I'll let Jeff go on fireworks for a few minutes.
I know Mr. Seeland had brought it a couple meetings ago about, if you will, it's a money for a deposit, in short, to secure the date, right?
Well, it's money to pay for the initial expense, and the primary number one expense is fireworks.
Right. So will you reiterate that we're a 1% income tax city? I know the community likes it. Is there a better organization that can fundraise, solicit, et cetera, rather than the city fronting the money? Not trying to twist an arm one way or another, whether to fund it or not. I'm just making sure that.
I think at this point in the year, if the groups had known about this last year, where they compare fundraising, but I think the deposits, when's the deposit due?
The deposit's due when we sign the contract. I just got green light from the school that the land, the property, the stadium, the maintenance team will be ready for July 3rd. So we're ready to sign the contract. Now, whether or not what's that?
Who's we specifically? When
What do you mean?
You said we're ready to sign the
Well,
contract.
to send it to Darrell Warnett as, being the component of Greater Johnstown
For the
Parks, right?
So the recreation district is entering into contract with.
Darrell would be the person that would sign it, yes.
Okay.
Now, the organizational piece, that's the piece that actually moves this machine. So before we sign that, 15,000, because again, if we remove 10,000 from that, none of the other funding that was generated last year is guaranteed at all.
Understand.
And so removing that 10,000 puts us obviously 10,000 in the hole, and essentially at zero.
Is there
He's
any?
looking at me, I'm one of 7 votes.
So
I'm
my,
just letting
my
you-
thought is, we approve the funding for it this year, and if we want to try to make a change, we look at organizations during the middle of the year next year, saying, okay, are there organizations that would want to take this on to raise the money, to prepare them for the next year? So for 2027, you have to come up.
Mr. Mayor, what did we fund last year? What was our 10?
Yep. We started 5,000 in the hole last year.
But, and the city funded 10, and it came off successful, but we're gonna raise it to 15.
I see 10 on the sheet.
I've got 50,
I've got 15
There's 15.
budget.
I'll take 15. Or we'll take 15, whatever it is.
It's always 10.
I mean,
On the back,
Activities, miscellaneous, other organizations.
backside, yeah, contributions.
Line 242, wow, if you don't have a spreadsheet,
I'm looking.
line item appropriations,
Contributions to other organizations.
Bottom of the first
15,000.
page.
okay, I don't have. I
On
don't
the
have-
first page?
Bottom of the first page under leisure time activities.
Oh, that is, that's the overview,
We,
Yeah.
or category appropriation, sorry.
okay, we got some, hey, guys,
Go ahead.
That's 15,000,
I'm not
that's
saying
4,000.
anything either way.
but I'm seeing this. Hold on.
I'm not saying anything either way. I worked on the committee-
Far yet, so.
Hey, guys, hold on. We got someone
worked on the
speaking.
committee last year, so I'm not saying one way or another, take it out, leave it in, whatever. Just giving you an example of what Somerset, Ohio did last year. So they're a village. They don't have a lot of business out there, a lot of industry. It's mostly farmers. And they spent $35,000 on their fireworks for a 22-minute show. It was the biggest show they ever did. The village council gave $2,500 and they raised the rest. So just giving you an idea of what.
Who raised the rest?
They put
The committee.
Yeah, they put the guy in charge. He does it every year. His name's Denny Kessler. He's done it for years. And he raises the money through individuals and probably, I'm going to say farmers. There's not a ton of business out there. There just isn't. But I'm not saying one way or another to take this out. I'm just giving you an example of what a small community did. And they've been doing that for years. But this was the biggest one they had. They raised $30-some thousand.
So,
I mean, if we message it right, maybe we could get to 40 grand. I'm just saying, if a messaging is right where it doesn't come across as, hey, we're taking this away, but we're giving this opportunity instead. So
But
we're
it-
not
but it-
taking it away, we're giving an opportunity.
Understood.
So, it's just an example. I
Okay.
don't care, I mean, I don't, it's
I
not.
didn't see that one coming, so, okay.
But really, we only need to raise 10 more. You know, people that are donating only need to donate $10,000 more than what they already are and have this happen. You know, but-
So do we leave it in this year and prepare that for the following year? Or do we take it out and put it on that we've got to raise 10 by however soon we've got to be able to pay that bill?
Mr. Mayor, I'll reiterate what I said in committee. I think we should give it to Parks and Recs as part of their starting fund, and they can allocate it as they see fit. Don't dog-ear it for a specific thing. Parks and Recs thinks it's 5 and 5 for something else, raises money, but they can't raise money, right, as an entity, because they're not nonprofit.
Right.
But they can
Other
allocate it.
organizations
They can
can.
pay it out.
Yeah. So if we budget what we have in there now and the township comes through with, say, 5 grand, this lessens our load even more that we,
Well, if it's budgeted and appropriated,
You're not gonna get it all.
so what does this side want to do over here? I know Dave, but Tiffany and Ryan.
I mean, like I said last meeting, before we literally light money on fire, I think we need to take a strong look at what we want to do with this budget.
Are you going to be out there wanting to tell the public that we're not going to do fireworks?
I think I can be on that committee. I think you'd find more support than you'd think.
I'm asking the question, how soon do we need to know to lock in the fireworks for this year? Because I know they book up.
Well,
That to me is the question.
the hypothetical that was placed to me was, Hamburg is, because they've been a partner with the city of Johnstown for so long, they've agreed to not increase from 15. That last year they increased from 10 to 15, and we were able to absorb that. We were able to fundraise for that, right? Because essentially, when they increased from 10 to 15, that automatically put the Greater Johnstown Parks, the Legion, and the committee the group that put that together, that put us 5,000 in the hole. So in theory, last year could have been a loss that would have come back hat in hand to the council to say, hey, we need more money, right? But in the way that that committee and that group was able to, and yeah, I'm going to toot my horn on this, to fundraise and illustrate and visualize what the vision was and how there was going to be an absolute benefit to the community and give back to community groups and what they were going to do, how they were going to do it. That's the reason it was successful. It wasn't a money grab for anything, and almost every city.
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think, how can we go through this and find out what each council member wants, if they want it in there or not? Can we do a vote?
I think you can have a line item roll call vote.
Okay. So my first question is, do we want to decrease it to 10,000? Or do we want it?
Well, the question is on the 15, I'm looking at the first page and second page. So Bob, you're going to have to bear with me on the electronic version, right? I see the supplies and materials, operating supplies, 5,000, and then the next physical page, the 10,000. So what I'm seeing and that's repairs, maintenance, machinery, and other equipment. And then under miscellaneous, there's contributions to other organizations. That's my understanding. That 10,000 is the 10,000 we're talking about, right?
We have
the
15,000 and,
So I got a text from Dave. I'm not sure that the microphone's working. So he said the budgeted amount for fireworks was 10. The other 5 was council amount. So I think there is a provision in there for 5,000 just for council to other organizations.
okay, that makes sense. So 10,000 to council.
10,000's what's on the
So,
table.
So, hold on, that gives a little more flexibility. If that is just contributions to other organizations in our budget, that means we can appropriate out whatever amount in the future makes sense. If so, that doesn't necessarily put an onus on fixing that number now,
okay.
right? Because that isn't allocated, appropriated, that's just for other organizations. It's just the bulk of it in discussion is fireworks, which can change or not change or anything else, but it also doesn't require us to hone that down. That means that can be pulled back or expanded, just like any of these things can be in the future. So for a budget standpoint, unless someone has a fundamental issue with having it even listed in the budget, we can probably move on, is my thought.
Well, the two hypotheticals I still want to throw out there, right? The hypothetical of, because since we have not signed the contract yet, because we were waiting on this discussion, but also then clearance from the school. So I have clearance from the school, but the group has clearance from the school now, right? That the property and the stadium is all available for July 3rd. The other hypothetical piece is that if another city, another entity, right? Because it's the 250th anniversary, all that kind of stuff. If another entity comes in with 30,000, they could take our spot.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Dave, if I could, does this make sense? Under other business, can you bring this back up and say, will the council commit X amount of dollars to get us past the budgeting process? Because you can't commit money in the budget that's not line itemed in the budget, right? Because it's not line itemed as fireworks. Would that, I mean, I understand your situation, I understand what you're getting at, and it makes perfect sense to me, but it's really not part of a budget discussion. If it's available, then the second step is, can I count on this? Because I'm gonna go, sign some names to paper.
And the other hypothetical for discussion here is if, and I've had this discussion, and I've gotten this response, that if the city were to remove all or part of that funding, that some of our major sponsors would also pull back. So, because they said, well, if the city's not going to spend money on this, if the city's not going to pay money, why should I? And that's been a conversation. I said nothing's guaranteed that anything's pulling anything back. I said, but to be aware that this is the conversation. And that's not to hold anything hostage or anything like that, but again, that's, I think, reasonable buy-in from people that are putting money towards this city and township event.
So if we leave it in there right now for other organizations,
I think the objection from someone on the council to leave it in there now would be that they don't believe we should allocate money to other organizations at that number. That would be the change. Fireworks is not inclusive. I mean, it is, but it's not specific to this. That could be a secondary conversation or whatever else the council may decide.
can you ask Dave, Sean, can he hear?
I might just call him if it's easier.
Nicole, you're still technically on the recreation district,
I am.
correct?
If it's in the budget, if it's in the budget,
Go ahead, I can probably answer it. What's your
It's just
question?
budgeted, not appropriated.
If it's in the budget, it doesn't mean it's appropriated.
If it's in the budget, it does mean it's appropriated, so we can spend it. However, just for clarification, let me find out where is this particular item in legislative, or is it?
It's under legislative activities.
Legislative
activity.
activities under miscellaneous, 715-650.
Because it's under legislative, not saying it's certain, but I can tell you,
We control that.
as long as I'm sitting here, anything that's in legislative that's specifically for council to decide on, I'm not going to appropriate money out of there without your approval. That would be unwise, I think, and disingenuous of what that account is for. So now, if it was in leisure and recreational park, that money's there, that's an operational piece. Because it's in legislative, that's more in your bucket. So without a specific item already addressed to appropriate it, such as the fireworks, which we've always just cut the check because it's been generally understood that's what the money's for. If you wanted to leave it there, you certainly could and say, staff, don't spend it until we tell you what to do with it. Absolutely makes sense on this particular situation. All the other ones, that would create an operational nightmare.
Are you guys good with that for now? Jeff's given us, yes, so it stays in there for now until council decides what they want to do with it.
I asked Ms. Shook if she was still on there, and the purpose of asking that question is that I think there is enough time that if the recreation district could get behind it and to the point of Monroe Township, even hitting up Jersey Township, even Liberty Township, even if it was just $1,000, because their residents do come to that event. You know, you can start to amass some money where our contribution
It's smaller.
is smaller. You know, we are just a 1% income tax city, period.
Would you be comfortable with the language that if any municipalities' additional donations outside of obviously hourly, fire department, with all that kind of stuff, right? Any other financial donations would then, offset or reduce the city's contribution?
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that.
I'm comfortable with
I would
that,
like
too.
to see part of what I said in Finance Committee is I'd like to see our recreation district, because if I'm not mistaken, the school board has done their piece of legislation to get to 30 years, right? I know we need to get ours, we haven't done
We
it.
haven't voted on it yet. We keep asking the school to send over the,
I believe this council, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, but when they get on,
It's not a controversial topic.
it's not a controversial topic that when it gets to the council in 26 about the 30-year life of the recreation district, it'd probably be supportive. I'd like to see the recreation district own it to say, we're going to go work to try to raise more money to reduce our amount, and where they kind of take over that.
It's to work in a position of a safety
It
net.
has to go through, those donations cannot go through Greater Johnstown Parks and Rec.
What?
The donations that we would solicit for cannot go through Parks and Rec.
Sure they can. You clear it through JYAA as a nonprofit.
Exactly. what I'm
It's a
saying, though,
nonprofit
it has to go through another
There's ways to,
nonprofit.
correct.
That's how we did it this past year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. They're the driving force.
Like I said, my biggest concern, and like I said, with that language of any additional municipality donation, I love that idea. Because then the group can still count on
Who's liable?
10 from
Understood.
from municipalities.
Okay.
I like that. I can support that one.
That's,
I can generally support
there's
that
not actually.
to meet some common ground there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the only reason I say that is because just in the fundraising efforts, that one thing that I'm working on the side with Christmas, there's been a dramatic drop this year in donations. So,
okay.
it is.
So what other questions do we have out there on the budget that you'd like answers to tonight?
I want to go through and take a look here at all the miscellaneous and contractual services, but I think that's.
Ryan, can I talk
Ryan,
quickly about?
Finance Committee did that. Go ahead, Jeff.
Chief has asked for flock cameras, 5 cameras at $3,000 per camera. I brought up, same concept of a 1% city, There was a presentation in Finance Committee. All the committee members were here. I think a couple council members were here. Again, I bring it up not to say that necessarily for it or against it, but it's a $15,000 a year commitment every year for these cameras as part of the program. Correct, Chief?
Yes, sir. To make the town safer.
Where are the Licking County flock cameras, Chief?
I don't know specifically where they're at, and I don't know if they would want me to disclose that.
They are on
they're-
the major thoroughfares,
Yeah, you can see.
in and out of
Yeah.
town.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a map.
There's a website that specifically is to that. Yeah.
That,
I don't think there is, I Googled it.
No, it was,
VanishedBigBrother.com.
what we were shown,
They showed us in their
thought
display.
they showed it.
in a public meeting, so I'm sure it wasn't private.
So we can move forward. This budget can go all night. So Dave, do you want the flock cameras in the chief's budget, yes or no? I'm going through the room, so,
Yes.
Ryan,
I would have liked to see the presentation on it. I thought that was gonna come to safety and service.
Tiffany?
I'm indifferent. I don't think I have enough information to
I say yes. Wes?
say.
Yes.
Jeff?
I'm not, and I'll put it out there, for the fireworks, I got a hard time with it as well too, because we're hoping and praying on grants for our streets.
I will say, I think and maybe this is too late to say this, but I think just like as a council, we need to decide where we're investing our money. Do we want to invest it in personnel increases? Do we want to invest in technology? We got to make some decisions here, just like foundationally, where we want to make improvements, because we can't make all of them. So if we need to add manpower, then that's what we need to focus on and put it into manpower. If we need better technology or, then let's make that decision across the board. And, because putting little bits and bits doesn't get us anything.
I look at it this way, or the person who's in charge of law enforcement suggested this. There was an account this year where there was a shooting here in town. They were able to use some flock cameras further away that helped find the culprit of the shooting. For $15,000, it's cheaper than another cop at this point. So, Bob?
Similar to what you said. Philosophically, I don't think we should necessarily dive too deep into the individual line items. We should give guidelines for the department heads. The village manager, city manager, should then review and see if it fits in, aligns with our budget. And then if it goes off the rails and sideways, we direct the city manager to hold his staff accountable and do what needs to be done to make the correction or replacement, or we replace the city manager. Yes, the fireworks and the flock cameras, all these things, yes, they all matter, they're all dollars, but it's becoming increasingly difficult, and into the future, it will be absolutely impossible unless you have 7 accountants or attorneys or other such people that have endless amounts of time to dig into this, to go through this line by line. So my recommendation is anyone that is frustrated by the budget or the process, put your hand up when it comes to do the finance committee. And if you're not one of the 3 members, come to every meeting, right, and do your input. But really, this body needs to be a clearinghouse more than a functional doer, or else we're going to continually, take these side shifts and get nowhere. That's a lot more than what you asked, but that's where I sit.
Okay. Okay, so moving forward, we got that question answered. Ryan, what was your you were asking about contractual services?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in here. I'll send it in an email. I don't want to take up too much of our time.
Perfect, because I know the questions you're looking for,
Right.
and they're legit, and we asked for the same things, and I'm sure they will be able to be explained. Just,
Well, we did ask,
And Jack walked through every one of his, and
yeah, but they were also going to be put in this document for all of council to see, and I don't see here, and I distinctly.
can you
remember-
ask Dave if he can get that for us and send it to us this week?
Yeah, I'm sure probably 85-90% of them are completely understandable, and I just want to.
let me spitball these out here to you. This is what I think the questions are. Under administrative offices, contractual service, you have engineering services, 95,000. That's not one project, right? You have, planning service, MKSK, that's pretty straightforward, probably. Other professional services, $50,000. Probably a lot of attorneys in there, but who knows? That's probably one that is gonna want a little more detail.
Where you at, Bob?
I'll give you the two lines. I'm at 199 on the most current electronic. I would be,
What's the, it's,
1,710, 346, all zeros. 1,710, 349.
so it's the 349, the 341s, and the 399 series that we need breaking out.
I'm going
Pretty much your 300 series.
for general
710,
government.
300.
General government.
Yeah.
I'm asking the other two fellow committee members, did we not ask for this,
Yes,
for this to come forward at tonight's meeting?
yes.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to unpack it here. So, engineering services is EMH&T.
Right.
So there's no other way to break it out.
That-
It
no,
is
yeah, that's
EMH&T.
easy.
I'm not going to
Okay.
be able to, that's just going to be
That's,
for all the
that's the
things.
only one under that. That is.
So that's essentially our city
Engineering
planner.
In the city.
And EMH&T, city planner is pretty much, and all those.
Planning
responsibilities.
services, MKSK 20, that's for, sometimes we need additional planning whenever you guys, through committee meetings or whatever the case may be, have questions. We've got to engage a planning service outside of planning and zoning, but something specific for the city. That's 20. That line item was 150 because we did the comprehensive plan. It was 85,000 up in planning and zoning because we did the design review. You'll notice that the 85,000 has been reduced to, I think, 5,000. So this year, there's no planning associated with anything. Training services, I think it speaks for itself. Other professional services, these are kind of a group of just a variety of items that may occur throughout the year. And when I mean a variety, we're not sure of what situations may occur or what projects that you all start to show interest in that you need us to address, but we need to have some appropriated line item in there for those services. It could be additional engineering outside of EMH&T. It could be additional legal counsel that you need to get for something that you're trying to review.
Sean, I have the 14 accounts. I've got 14 accounts written down that I'll get to you if you could get to Dave tonight or tomorrow morning, and he could send us, or him or Sean could send us what's the detail of in these.
Okay. Said that, and then I, just going through here, sidewalks, I saw there's 20,000 for sidewalks. Is that a usual fund that we have in there, or was that, I remember talking about.
I had 100,000 in
Repairing
it. I thought it was
sidewalks.
getting taken down. From 100.
I'll chop it all the way out, but
Well,
We
that,
usually
that
keep
was my
5.
question, because I remembered talking about sidewalks, but I didn't know if we had something in there for ones that we just normally had to repair in the
Yes.
course of a year.
Yes.
Okay.
Usually we keep around $5,000.
Okay. I just noticed it
In
was
case we
20,000
have
in
to
there.
dig something out on a water line service or something like that.
So Sean, that 20 needs to go down to 5.
Okay.
fair enough. This is one of those random things that you don't know that you're going to get into, but there was talk about safe routes to school, grants. If we do have a desire to participate and do the engineering on that, that's not going to be inside our general engineering services. That's going to be one of those à la carte, additional
Do
professional
we keep
services.
it, let's keep it,
If you
Well, I
want
remember
to,
having the conversations. but
yeah,
I
so
just
let's
didn't
keep it
have
at
a
20
project
in case we have to do engineering for these
if
safe
you're going to
routes.
submit the application, there's going to be some background cost associated with it. Now, and you could have matching money associated with it. I don't know, but it's not going to take much to get Safe Routes to School grant in the range of $4,000 just administratively from an engineering
And
perspective.
then whatever Jack needs to fix.
It could be more than that. I mean, they're going to have to take inventory of the roads, or I'm sorry, inventory of the current sidewalks. So if you don't want it, that's fine. But again, we were trying to maximize opportunity for grants associated with sidewalks, but not outright pay for sidewalks. So that was why we took it down to 20 instead of having it at 100.
And that's not something that would be spent without coming to council anyways, correct?
Not typically. It was direction from council that you all wanted to have potentially the option to do a Safe Routes to School. So that's why I took it from 100 because I didn't feel like there was enough participation on council, and quite frankly, in the budget, you'll notice we're at a $73,000 deficiency, so I started to chop. I never like to chop items that have the potential to invest some and get a greater return. So Safe Routes to School, let's say we put 20 into it, and we get $100,000 worth of sidewalks, I consider that a good ROI on your investment. So I can certainly try to go through those 14 line items, but
That's not one of them, but if you could let's keep that, because we have to figure out if we're going to spend it, so at least we know. Okay, anything, what else, Ryan?
That's all I have.
Okay. So I will give you these 14 other contractual services accounts. I went through and pulled them.
I'll try to get you answers on all of them.
Okay.
I'll have Dave check it out.
And Shauna answered a lot of them that day, last Monday.
Went through a bunch.
But unlike, I don't think Bob or Jeff, like me, can remember everything that she said.
I think, I mean, Mr. Orsini makes a good point about what the Finance Committee is. And now that Shauna did do a great job of answering those questions. We have a budget that has numbers. I think we should start to expand our budget process where I shouldn't say typically. I'm used to budgets that have a bit of a narrative in them as well too, where some of the stuff that Bob talked about, these questions, there's a narrative of what it is so that council members that don't come to committee, maybe they can't and what have you not, but that narrative can be part of that from the Finance Committee meeting where Shauna could put that narrative together, probably in a couple paragraphs, that address some of the questions that did take place in Finance Committee.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just a food for thought, and this is into the next budget year. Let's pick a number, that if a line item exceeds a certain number, and that would be on the overview. Council can decide on what that number is. That, to fill in up underneath of that number, there's just another, maybe a tab. So we have the tab for wages, right? You see the tab wages? We got wages in there, it's a huge number, 200. You can see every single detail. Maybe not to that detail, but just a little more fill. It would save a lot of conversation, it would save a lot of question, especially if folks that can't come to the finance meetings, or, as you know, they get long and circular at times. So I think that would save us a lot more angst over time. I would caution that excessive detail invites excessive review and opinions. So there's a balancing act to be had there.
Okay. I personally, I started working on it this past year with the budget. For me, as an accountant, I like to see a different workbook than we have, cleaner, more tabs that tie to each other. So it's something I started working on my own free time to try to help Dave, but with everything that's happened this year, it didn't happen. So I think it could be
Understandably so.
easier used for all members.
I think that's, I mean, you said it in a great way, is that the way you look at it is probably a lot of spreadsheets. Me, the nuts and bolts behind it of salary, benefits, et cetera, it's all, we're obligated to it all, but, you know, the narrative piece of highlighting kind of extrapolates that out so that council can read it and brief, and if they have some questions, you know, they can, hopefully the reading answers their questions. And if
Yes.
they want to delve into it a little bit more, then they can ask the questions, curtailing the
Okay.
context on the diocese.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just to add funniness to the conversation that's probably not funny. Teresa was having a giggle on the side over here because I stated to Teresa last week, is we're finalizing this thing in the 11th hour. I would love to have an opportunity to be able to do an executive summary on all the things that are included on this. That is something that we could probably get to. However, whenever I mentioned the 11th hour, literally Dave, Shauna, and myself were scratching together, hour here, and then finally we just blocked out 5 hours. Shauna stayed till 5 o'clock, well past 5:30, well past her time. Dave was able to participate. We were able to knock it out, but only because we had to. We just didn't have the staff in order to be able to do that. So I appreciate everybody's desires for it, and we can certainly work towards that. But it wasn't because we disregarded what you're requesting. It's literally, Dave is not in the office. Shauna and I are trying to handle it. He's remote and it was able to participate. But I think we finally got a copy over to Teresa within 2 hours before she had to get it in the packet. So I think all your suggestions are great. So don't take this as a obstruction of not listening to what you're requesting. There's a desire here, but there's also a limitation on the amount of hours that we have to be able to get it in front of you in order to get it to the finish line before the end of the year. So
Fair enough.
Okay. So no other questions? Does citizens have any comments? Okay. Moving, so that's the first reading. We'll have more answers for you next week. Item number 14 on the agenda, charter review discussion. Mr. Seelan, you wanted this added so you could talk about it, and questions you may have.
Well, the deadline came and went. Council saw the applications. Is this, I think there was a 5, if not 7, on the previous iteration of that. How does council want to move forward with assigning people?
We
And
got 2 people applied, plus Jim Hill, was it?
I remember him saying, yes, Jim Hill. I remember him saying he would be available to assist, but I didn't know if he necessarily wanted to be on the committee.
If I recall, that's exactly what he said. I'm here to help, but I am not the plow horse or the lead dog, if you will.
Yeah, I asked him to get in that professor emeritus role, I remember. So, yeah, he wasn't.
how many were on it officially last year? Or the last go-around? I shouldn't say last year.
It says a charter review commission consisting of 5 electors of the municipality. One of the members of the commission may be a council member. So we've got 2 people who've applied. So do we just say they're on it and we look for 3 more?
I think
You need 2 more, you could do it a council person too, and then
Right.
you'd have your thirds, but you need a minimum of 2 more.
Yeah.
we gotta keep it open.
Okay, can you repost it, Teresa? And we've got 2 so far?
You want to
Well, I
leave
think
it
we-
indefinitely, or would you like to set a deadline?
Maybe it motivates some people if you tell them who the 2 are, for or against.
The 2 are Mr. Seelan and Mr. Orsini, are the only 2 that have applied so far.
So if you like us, join us. If you hate us, come correct us.
but still participate.
Either
think-
way, you're showing up.
I was going to say, I think we all individually have to have a responsibility of trying to reach out to our friends, our neighbors, our
recruit.
colleagues, et cetera, to try to,
Especially the folks that have a diverse friendship group. You know, in my mind, it would be a wide range, because everybody has something to add, right? Either historical content or a new way of looking at things, so ask everybody. And if we get a bunch of great candidates, I'm happy not to do it. You know, I just want to make sure that we've got a good representation for our next, 10 years? How many is it? 10, yeah.
Okay. Other business? Mr. Orsini, do you have anything?
Nothing. Good job to Jack and his crew. I mean,
Thanks.
it wasn't easy. I was up, and yes, it started snowing at 11 and
Yeah.
didn't stop until 8:30.
Mr. Barr?
excuse me. I wanted to thank the chief and the officers that were at the crosswalks after our last meeting.
Oh, they pulled somebody over. My wife saw him.
Yeah, so I appreciate the concerted effort of our children.
And when in the afternoon on the way back, she had to put her umbrella in front of someone to get him to stop. So
I need to give you those signs that the Legion gave me with the stop.
it takes an effort. It's appreciated. It is.
And when is the lunch thing, Teresa?
It's
Tomorrow.
tomorrow,
right?
so everyone's invited, but the meeting will start at 11:30 and we do luncheon at 12.
And lunch is at 12, and the meeting at 11 is for their benefits and update stuff, right?
Updates on employee benefits.
Who's catering it?
City barbecue.
Free barbecue.
So
We're
we're,
gonna use rain rays, but
so lunch starts at 12. Thank you for the invite. That's what I needed to know. Appreciate it.
Mr. Coble?
Nothing, no.
Okay. Me. Dave, are you taking the lead on the agenda for next council meeting for our visitor?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll have something written for Teresa or for us to go along with?
Sure.
Okay. We need some kind of legislation for the kids, so.
Okay.
Mine would not bring the kids, but, you know, we're bringing the kids, so. So if you'll take care of that and get with Teresa for what we need to do for legislation. Ms. Hollis?
No, I have nothing.
Ryan?
Just an echo on the thank you to all of our service people who worked for Thanksgiving and our football holiday, as I consider it. So if you're here during the game, more power to you. Watch out, this is deer season this week, gun season, so be careful to anybody who's out. And if the citizens who aren't from a rural area see anybody running around in orange, that's what that is.
Mr. Sealand?
There's a parade.
Oh, yeah. Forget.
So, yeah, the CCL Santa Parade is this weekend, Saturday. They have their cookie, the CCL has their cookie walk at the Methodist Church prior to, so check out their Facebook page for the details on that. The parade kicks off at 5:30, is that right? 5:30?
The 1K fun run starts at 5:25. Anybody can run 1K. That's 0.75 miles, so please come join us. All proceeds go to Adopt a Child.
That's Mima's group, right?
Mima.
Mima.
Yeah, a 1K is half the parade route.
So that's at a sprint only, right? You're just only gonna sprint.
It's pretty much from this building to the town, or
Yeah.
to the.
We have a 75-year-old man who can do 14-minute miles walking, so.
Yeah, sprint that.
Really?
Yes, he just did a half.
Take a golf cart now. Sorry, too soon? Too soon? Sorry. So there is the parade, everything, festival, the get together for that. The Legion has their toy drive, so different buildings, operations, areas. I think Hotspot has them. I think they're definitely at Kroger. I think different businesses downtown, right, Tiffany? Has the gift wrap boxes. Those are typically the Legion toy drives. They do a great job with that. And then we have one more day here with the Creekside Drive for funding the Shop with the Hero. And I'm very happy to say we're closing in on $3,000, and if not, likely $4,000 contributing and helping out with, how do you pronounce her name again? Mima?
Mima.
And having a portion of that helping out with Mima and and her efforts with adopted kids. So we are probably going to be close to $4,000 in the grand scheme of that. So very happy and proud, and most likely going to work with some other community organizations for the toy drive and Christmas drive for those ideas, not necessarily towards the food, but work with different organizations to formalize efforts in the city to best make sure that the kids in this town have a very Merry Christmas, whether it's shopping with the cop, shopping with the fire department, or working through one of the other organizations to make sure every kid has something in the stocking or under the tree. So I will say a big thank you to people that have donated to that. It's a big thing. So.
Anything for you, Sean?
I'm not going to follow that. I want to give the guy a hug, so.
Okay. I make a motion that we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.